Hello, young people. I'm giving it to you real and raw today. How about that? So, we're going to talk about what I wanted to continue to talk about, and it is necessary for us to do. And that's what I'm going to do because this is also very important to me, especially as a woman of color in this country. What is happening? What are we getting ready to go through? So, I'm going to start with a few videos and we are going to go jump in if you like. You're more than welcome to. I wish my glasses didn't do that. I'm trying to let me see. I got to put them on my nose like this. Here we go. Then they won't hit the glass. Anyway, let's get into that. So, what I want to talk about is what is going on with Donald Trump. So, let's go there first. So, I'm about to. Oh, and by the way, before I go, today, I'm getting, I do what I do, but I want to let you guys know Mama is getting close to the goals, right? So I am putting out a goal that and I appreciate if you want to assist me in getting there. So I am trying to raise 200 for, um, they are fees for the land that I'm paying on, trying to pay it off. So I would appreciate it. I'm gonna hang out here tonight. So I'd appreciate if you hit the Cash App. Anything helps. We're just trying to get to the goal of $200. So I'm gonna put that in there. Here's my Cash App. I'm gonna run it at the bottom. So if you want to support the cause, it is always appreciated. If not, um, you can always like and subscribe by all means. Oh, why can't I spell? Um, Let me put this. Let's go. The goal is $200 for. I wanna say land fees. That's the best way I could put it. And these fees are for like the things that we need to start getting on there as we get closer to this. Trying to put, um, you know, our sewer on and have those different things ready to go. Like I'm trying to get everything ready to go in advance so that boom, when our last payment hit, we like, yeah, son, just come on up and make it happen. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Like I said, I'm here for we are about to get into some stuff. I want to talk about the candidates that are running for office that are trying to. Oh, let me hold on. Let me hide this for a second. I need to edit it. I forgot to put the earth part. My bad. Let me put that here. There we go. Oh, Why I pray cash from something else? That's Lord. That's Lord. That's Lord. So we're gonna roll with that. We're gonna get these land fees taken care of. Get these permits. That's it. Land permits. Let me get that out. That's it. Permits. I be having so much on my mind, child. It just be all over the place. So we're gonna save that and we're gonna run it across the bottom. So let's get into it. Um, I'm an advocate for what is happening now, which is we have a necessary, let me put it this way, we got to start paying attention. Like, that's just it. I know for a lot of Black folks growing up, we didn't talk about politics. My household did. And I thought it was necessary that I come and share because my reasoning for building Chocolate Earth has a direct correlation with the politics of what's happening. This is why we have a large amount of people who are homeless, why we have a large population of Black men who are homeless, a large population of Black veterans, male and female, men and women, I should say, who also have a problem finding affordable housing. We still, in this rich country, 2023, children are going to bed hungry, and it's not just the Black ones. So there are so many necessary conversations that could be had out here. And I hope that I am bringing something that is tangible to the conversation, because this is what's happening outside of our community, because we don't have enough leaders in positions to help assist turn the corner, because we haven't turned the corner yet. We're still in that place where we're still trying to figure out what to do. And I think there isn't any more figuring. We already know we need to take control, take the reins of our community, and start to transfer what we already give money to and make it that that dollar lasts longer in our community. That's it. We're moving the money. That's what we want to do. Oh, baby, thank you so much for coming by and supporting. You have a beautiful, beautiful birthday. Okay? Enjoy, because I do, honey. When my birthday come around, I enjoy it. Have a good time. Thank you so much. So let's get into it. So I've got these videos I want to share with you guys. So we're gonna get into that first. Let me get to YouTube, because I got some things I have lined up that I want to discuss. Let's see here. Let's go here. And like I said, feel free. The link is at the top. Once we get into it, they are making t-shirts with the look on his face, because I believe conservatives are having a like an exciting party, because they feel like what he looks like is, in one breath you can look at it and go, okay, so he's a rebel, so to speak. Now he got a mugshot, right? So that's one way to look at it. The other way is that this is our first president in history that has gone to jail, like for real, like really. Like, you know, when we talk about it on a global scale, we see this in third world countries, right? We're like, nah, not the United States. We ain't that hood. Oh, yes, we are. Oh, yes, we are. I think the last president that was arrested or jailed, this was in like the early 1800s, maybe even the early 1700s. So it's like, wow, you know, how did we get here? And I had a conversation on the first part when I did this, where, you know, I don't want any black man to feel like I want to berate and cuss you out. That's not it. I'm trying to figure out, if your values are this way, then who we voting for next year? My father was a Republican. A lot of black men are Republicans, and that's fine. It doesn't really matter. My issue is, are you voting for your interests when you vote for Republicans, or are you holding your vote hostage to the people who need your vote? This is not like they don't need our vote, because they do. This is the system they set up. So why don't we use it to our advantage, instead of just going, well, he's da da da, I'm gonna vote for him. That's just it. I wrote Republicans, so I'm gonna vote for everybody. What's the plan? And that's what my, you know, title is, because I want to have this conversation. So if you feeling it, let's go. But first, let's talk about what is going on. There has been some updates. All 14 of his people have been indicted. It's a lot. So we're gonna get to it. Let me put my fair use up too before I do anything. So let me go ahead and do that. Fair use. And this is for educational purposes as well, because, and these are public figures. So I'm gonna put that up there so we can have that as well. I just want to make sure I'm covering all my bases. All my bases. All right, let's go up here. Yes, great. So we are good to go. Like I said, we are trying to raise $200 for the land permits. We are doing things in advance. So if you feel so kind, anything will help to get us to this goal. So let's go. Let me look at this right now. Okay. Oh wow, why didn't it show? Let me go to it. Man, it done changed. It done changed my thing, y'all. Let me go on and fix this. I guess it didn't want me to. Okay, here we go. I am trying to look at. Oh, yes. I want to talk about this gentleman here. Shout out to the damage report. And we're going to pull this up first. We got that going on. And we also have, let me see here. So this one as well. So we're going to look at this video. This is the update of what is going on with all 14 of these people and what is happening and how Fannie Willis has changed history forever. Let me show this here. I'm share the screen. Let's go. All right. Great. Awesome. Let's go here. And let's get going.
And joining me now is who else but the law firm. Neil Katyal is the former acting U.S. Solicitor General, and Andrew Weissman is the former FBI General Counsel. And I'm so thrilled to have you here on set with me today, Neil. So there's so many different components of this week, and I want to dig into as many as possible. A judge granted Kenneth Chesebro's request for a speedy trial. Sidney Powell filed her own request. There are also reports that John Eastman is asking for the same thing. That means that a number of these co-defendants would be separated from Donald Trump. What does that mean for Trump's case?
Okay, so there's two January 6th cases. There's the Georgia one going on that you're talking about now, and then there's the federal one, which Jack Smith has asked for a trial to begin on January 2nd.
So if you're not familiar with what is going on, what they mean by that is there are two cases, right? So you've got the insurrection, January 6th, his role in that, and you also have him trying to persuade and bully a elected official in Georgia to get him more votes, the 11,000 votes, the perfect call, as he stated. So if you're not aware, but we're going to keep it going.
(2024). With respect to this request from Ken Chesebro, who is one of the architects of the January 6th coup, he said, I want a trial right away on October 23rd. Fannie Willis, the prosecutor, says, yeah, game on. The judge says, fine, game on. So what this means is that the first January 6th trial will happen. It will likely be
in Georgia,
and it will likely be just Mr. Chesebro, or perhaps with Sidney Powell, who's also asked for a fast trial. But it won't likely involve Donald Trump or the other 16 defendants.
Oh my, let me quote 16.
But that means that the signal, this stuff is starting to happen. And if you're Donald Trump, you've got to be very worried.
So again, the reason why he is saying that he'll be very worried, because they could turn on him. They could turn on him and tell that, hey, this was his plan all along. And that's what I want to get to. And I'm curious if anyone is able to come and speak about it. I am curious to know what Black Republicans, male or female, feel about this and the Republican Party. So I really would like to have that conversation. So let's keep going.
Andrew, just to pick it up where Neil left it there, why should Donald Trump be worried? What does it mean for his case?
So I think there's the court of public opinion, and there's also the issue of just, the legal court. So just let's focus on the court of public opinion. As you mentioned, Jen, in your intro, I mean, what Donald Trump is trying to do is litigate this in the court of public opinion and just spin facts to say this election was stolen. As Neil pointed out, that is very soon going to be in a forum that he cannot control, and he won't even be a defendant in that courtroom. So there will be facts and law that is going to be going on at the end of October in Georgia. And there actually is going to be a hearing tomorrow with respect to Mark Meadows, where again, facts and law will be presented and Donald Trump will not be there to spin his version. So I think just from both from sort of what's going to go on in court, but also his whole play, which is to try this in a place where he can just make up the facts and the law that he wants, that is going to be really hard for him going forward, because you have these divergent defendants wanting to get into court sooner.
So, Neil, Andrew referenced this Mark Meadows trial. There's a lot happening tomorrow, actually. So let's start with the Mark Meadows trial. He wants to move the venue from the state venue to a federal court. What are you watching for in this trial, and what happens exactly if any of these co-defendants who are asking for that are successful?
Yeah, so there's a really old law of Congress that says if you're a federal officer performing a federal function and you have a federal defense, if you've been indicted in state court, you can move that to federal court. It still means the state prosecutors control it all. So for example, if Donald Trump wins in 24 or some other Republican, he can't terminate the state prosecution, but it does change things. So most importantly, and this is I think what Trump cares about the most, there are cameras in Georgia state courtrooms. There are not cameras in the federal system.
Do you think what Mark Meadows cares about too?
Oh, absolutely. I think they all care about, they want this trial. They do not want the American public to see this trial. They are scared like vampires of sunlight here. And so I think that's part of it. Part of it is also to try and manipulate who's on the jury and things like that. So I don't think this removal motion that Meadows has filed is going to be successful, because it does require you to be performing a federal function. And last time I checked, organizing a coup, even if you're the chief of staff to the president, isn't part of your official job
description. And the chief of staff isn't typically calling the Secretary of State of Georgia. As a non-lawyer, I can just state that as a person who's worked in politics. Andrew, I wanted to ask you about...
Right. Again, this is why he's on trial. It's not because they're trying to take him down because he's the best. He committed crimes. Now, it's funny to me, though, Black folks will say that, oh, you committed a crime, you need to go to jail. Well, he's in trouble. He is in trouble, and he needs to do the right thing by giving, in Georgia, they allow cameras. So, yeah, we're going to see it. And they don't want us to see it. Of course, they don't want us to see it. They don't want us involved in that. They don't want the things to come out that they truly were trying to take over the government. You weren't voted in, sir. And he tried to do it while he was still in office. This is not the way that the game is played. And that is why a lot of Republicans start walking away from him. But however, they won't speak against him. I just add that to it.
One of the subtle changes I noticed, but again, I'm not a lawyer, in Trump's tone, where he basically said, he went from saying the election is rigged to I thought the election was rigged. He also changed legal representation. What do you read into that, and does it mean anything?
Sure. So good pickup on that. I do think that if you're his lawyer, you do want to switch to an argument that this is what he believed. He believed at the time that
that's a great question. Thank you for coming.
He's not saying, and it's not necessary for him to prove that in fact it was. In other words, he could have been mistaken.
Let me pause this real quick. So, I am more than open to talk about the false ballots, right? So, yes, did they find some ballots in the, with us having to vote from home and different things like that, but a lot of people still went out and voted. The things that were done to try to curtail or almost minimize the voting system. We've been doing this for how long? For those of us who've been here. And there's been false ballots or not signed ballots or ballots that came through. However, this is what I'm saying. If there were cellulite, why haven't we seen them? I would think that the party would show proof that they could show they were there too. They had their electors there. They had their people all across the state. There was, hey, Cleo, welcome, love. There were people across the state, Republican and Democrat, that were in these areas. It was one of the, but who refused though? The Republicans could have refused. They could have done it. They could have taken it to the Supreme Court if they had proof. They had to have proof. Now we're talking about the law. And you and I both know that the law is written in words, and that is what they go by. And there was no proof. And he tried this. He went to several different judges who he picked to be in office, and they said there was nothing that was stopping what the presidential election was. Joe Biden won by the votes, and that was it. I think we can also go, yes, some people will be like, oh, it was cheated, it's a sham. Who though? Who dismissed it? It was his federal judges that he appointed. I have to disagree with you. I don't think it was get rid of Trump. If he would have been a decent president, he might have gotten that second, he might have gotten in a second time. I look at him, he's not quite like him, but it was like when Bush was in office. We know for sure, and there's proof that the Bushes did whatever they had to do to get him in. Well, the election wasn't stalled. Like an election goes, it can take days for all the ballots to come in. And so it's like, we have to move past that and go with, what are we going to do now? Because he lost all the cases to prove if it was a problem. Now he has 4 indictments for things that he has done. And there is proof. There are text messages. There are emails. There are recorded voice calls. He has no problem running his mouth. He tells on himself. I agree with you. It's just like saying that he's still a citizen of the United States. So he has to abide by those laws. Isn't that the point? But he was already saying year before that if he didn't win, it was because this was bad. There has not been a president who said that ever. Even Al Gore didn't say that. And he knew they took that election from him. But we moved on, right? So we're coming into 2024. There's getting ready to be another, it's been already 4 years. We're going to have to make some decisions now as to who. I don't care, Republican or Democrat. Let's find the best person out of the trash heap. And we already know that there's a 2-tier system. This man ain't spent a night in jail. He has 4 indictments, and this is the first mugshot he's gotten. I don't really, and no disrespect, but these things are distractions. We are still having a hard time in our community. But again, cellulite, sweetheart, I don't care about the laptop. Do you know the back dirt that all of these politicians have, honey? They got plenty, every single one of them. Taking dirty money, taking money from lobbyists that is legal bribery. We have such a system entangled with criminality. So it's like the fact that Donald Trump and his cohorts even went past the normal criminality of politics and politicians. We have some better ones in here. I'm not gonna lie about that. We have some great people who have decided to get into office. Now, I think it needs to be more. And like I said, so I don't care about the fact that Hunter Biden and his daddy, everybody got dirt in their closet. Like, come on. When are we going to start having an agenda so that we can hold our vote hostage? They know that they need us, Republican or Democrat. They need our votes. And I say this to you as, wait a minute, just because we choose not to smoke. Right, exactly. It's just like the same saying. If a tree fall in the woods, is it still gonna make sound? Yes, even if you don't hear it. So I agree with you. I just think that now, where is the agenda? What do we want them to do? And who fits the best that has voted in line with what we want? Period, point blank. Because unless we are going to pool our resources together and get a candidate that works for us, we can't continue to hang on to these distractions, because that's what they want you to do. They want you to hang on to the distractions of the baloney. Let's get to the meat and the potatoes of the whole thing. And it is that we don't have an agenda. We don't have an organization that is large enough that we all come together, and we don't all have to be on the same page, because one group of Black people could want something different, on and on, but we can add it together and go, look, this is our list. This is what we want. It's just like anything else. That's what I'm saying. It still failed regardless. Hit the link, sir. I don't like talking to the chat. If you drive, I know you said you was driving, but hit the link. I'll drop it in here. We can have this conversation. I'm all for it. You know it. And it is necessary that we have these conversations. And I don't care who you vote for. It's not about that. It's about who's the best. And I'm going to tell you something. I didn't want to vote for Biden. I don't like Biden. I know who he is. Oh, okay. That's cool. It is truly necessary for us to have these conversations. We are the only ones that can fix this. I mean, that's just it. But we have to get past the bullshit first and realize it's not important. It's will always be here. You are always going to be here. Let's focus on what we need policy-wise, from city, from the county, city, state, and then the United States. We start networking and changing things in our states collectively. I don't have to be friends with you to do that. We don't have to agree on everything for us to do it. It doesn't have to be that way. So let me get back to my video.
I don't think that's going to fly. I mean, it's way, way, way too late in the day. I mean, this is since you can introduce all of his statements, one of the questions the jury would have is, I'm sorry, why now? After all this time, is there evidence that suddenly came out yesterday that changed your mind? So I understand why the lawyer might want to do that, but I don't think that's going to work. If you were going to make that argument, you needed to do it a long time ago. And then why counsel changed, that's, no one knows for sure. Obviously, it could be a question of money because Donald Trump has a history of not paying for his counsel. But I think it also could be if Donald Trump felt like he wasn't sufficiently controlling his counsel. And, one of the things that everyone pointed out that were the bail conditions and that Donald Trump's were very different. I personally think that his previous lawyer, was right not to challenge that and to accept Bonnie Willis's sort of ultimatum that these are the criteria, because the downside for the lawyer was that you'd have a hearing and there would be issues and it would be presented to the court. That's something you would really not want to do if you were representing Donald Trump, have it laid out all of the ways in which he had harassed various witnesses, judges, prosecutors, et cetera. So I think we'll see. I mean, I think the new lawyer is good, but it's odd to change lawyers so late in the day.
So, Neil, not to leave out a major
I'm talking. I have to agree because it's just like anything else. You've already made statements everywhere. This dude was everywhere. He was on every platform. He was on every news channel. He was on everything saying that the election was stolen and that there were hundreds of thousands of ballots. Fine. If he'd have just been saying that, fine. But what he ended up doing was, you cannot call an elected official and go give me 11,000 votes. You can't do that. That is illegal. There are things that you cannot do. It's just like his foundation. He wasn't helping nobody with that foundation. He was funneling money through it. This is a racketeering case as well. Again, this man has been indicted 4 times. We talk about accountability out here so much. He has to take accountability for his mouth and his actions, male or female. And there are men and women, as you see on my thumbnail, that they all went to Georgia and were indicted and had mugshots. And so now it's public. So now I want to know, what are we going to do? What happens? Where do we go? And that conversation, I don't know why it's so hard to have, especially among my own people.
Hearing or major development that we could learn tomorrow, which is the date of the trial for the case against Trump and overturning the election. What are you expecting? What are you watching for as we look to hear more from that tomorrow?
So this is the big enchilada. Tomorrow, Judge Chutkan in D.C. is going to set the date for Donald Trump's federal January 6th trial. The prosecutors have asked, as I said, for January 2nd of 2024. Donald Trump's lawyers literally filed a motion saying 2026. Okay, I'm sorry, that is laughable. It's not credible. And I think Judge Chutkan is going to have none of it tomorrow. And in particular, what Jack Smith points out is the request for April 2026 was based on totally cooked data. They basically said, well, RICO prosecutions take this long, but they only looked at the COVID era, so they included all the delays,
let me pause this real quick. Thank you so much for coming in. Again, like I said, we're trying to get, let's get this going. Let's have this conversation. Whatever your political affiliation, has nothing to do with it. We are still Black in this community. We are still looked at as Black people. We still have an issue. We have the ability to change the game. Our consumer power can turn into political power. So I'm going in tonight. I'm talking about some things that we don't talk about. And truth be told, if Donald Trump is the face of the Republican Party, y'all in trouble. I'm just going to be 100. I'm not saying that all the Democrats ain't great either. However, they do try to align at least with the working man. I'm not saying they align with Black people personally, but they know that there are still disenfranchised minorities in this country. The Republicans want to completely, negate the fact that there are things necessary for us to do. Black men have to vote. Black women have to vote. We have to do that. That is all we have at this point. And if we then can understand that the economic power we have, we just can't come in and take away what Black people are already spending their money on. We need to replace it and then funnel that money into our community. It is not rocket science. I'm just being 100. It really is not. There are 4 areas where we can knock it out the park. And that is food, that is housing, that is health, and education. If we took our kids out of these public schools and had our children in our own community schools, the public system would go down, because all that federal money they get is based on our Black asses. Okay? And I am tired of tiptoeing around the conversation. You want to be scared to have a conversation? I am not. If you want to call me a community activist, fine. If you want to call me whatever, fine. But I'm still here for it. I want better. I don't want my nephews and nieces growing up in this country. And you know what, Elite Belzo, I'm going to tell you this. We are afraid, whether Black folks want to admit it or not. We're not these Black people that were from the 60s and the 70s. There are some, right? We have like the gentleman in Tennessee and the women who have gotten into the House of Representatives and a few of the Black senators that we have in our country. But how many of us know who the House reps are in our states? How many of us know the aldermen in our city? We talk about the mayor, but what about the sheriff? We need to know all of these things, all of them. And you know, what I find amazing is all the information is out here. We just got to collect it and make it one hub. And if that's what I got to do, then that's what I got to do. Because I want change. Damn, I want to see different. I am so tired of seeing white folks make decisions for my community. It has nothing to do with being racist. It has nothing to do with hate, because I don't. Color and culture is what separates us. That's it. We're all human beings. And for those of us who want the right things, we fight for them. So let's fight. But we can fight with our heads. We don't have to fight with our bodies unless somebody, like what happened in Alabama, right? Unless you step to me, I ain't got no reason to put my hands on nobody. But I can put my fingers on this computer and I can find as much information as possible. But like I said, and I appreciate, shout out to Daryl, everything. Please, by all means, I don't care. Drop your link. Support. I am all for it. We have to network on a different level. We have to understand politics better and how it affects us. Our school boards. How can an all-Black school system, you see the school board and who up there? Maybe a handful of Black folk? People that don't even live in the community. You shouldn't be allowed to be on the school board and you don't have no kids or you don't live in the community. If your kids ain't going to the school or you don't live in the community, why you think you can tell me what to do with my kids? They are changing history, people. You think Florida is the only one that's trying to get our history erased from our school systems? Stop. I can't. Girl, it's on. I wish I had a drink. I ain't got a shot. Because I'm exhausted. I'm tired of it. I really am tired of it. And I'm tired of the arguments about things that don't matter. I don't care nothing about Hunter Biden being naked. I don't care about Hunter Biden, or I don't care about the Trump kids. I don't care about these folks. I care about my community. I care about these babies that are not being educated. The young Black folks who go and get degrees and get in debt, but they can't find an opportunity that's going to pay them so they can get out of debt. And if our Black dollar is close to $1 trillion, then we can move that money and start replacing. You start replacing it. Hey, got the food growing. I want to move into grocery stores, in food deserts. That's where I start. That's my point. Then I go into the next move, which is manufacturing. Everything we buy is from China, but we at war with China. How does that make sense? That's how I know it's baloney. And what we getting on these screens is fluff. It is not showing what's really happening. And it has come down to this place where I am just in my heart and my soul, down to my feet. This is just how I feel, and it doesn't go away. I'm this passionate about my own family. I want to make sure that my nephews, my brother, my sisters, and if So be it. I procreate and have a child. I want them to grow up in a different way. I want them to see that we made change that was so significant that now we're not at the bottom of the totem pole. We running right beside you, babe. We running right beside you. And I know we scared. I know we afraid. But how much I ask this question, right, to myself and to other people who have come into my life. How scared are you? Is it that you're scared of failure? Or are you scared of trying? Because I hear a lot when I talk about this. Oh, we tried that. When? When? Are you still talking about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X? They ain't here no more. They gone. Al Sharpton old, Jesse Jackson old. These people ain't gonna be here too much longer. So what are we talking about? Because I'm a woman, I don't care. Women have made significant strides in politics. We have broken the bank on how we have made things happen in support of. And the fact that Black men in this space got the nerve to say that Black women don't support them is asinine. That's all we've been doing. Mama getting her son in the NFL. Mama getting her son into basketball. Mama taking her child everywhere so they can be a part of the spelling bee. Mama doing this, mama doing that. Who do you see when they at the top? Who they talk about the most? Grandma, mama, auntie. Very few men. And that should change. And I was on another panel. I was on Daryl's panel, and he said, he was, showing a video that I was really impressed. It was 1988. Howard, I think it was Huey P. Newton and some other people. And they were, again, having the same conversation. So what does that say? We're still afraid. We're comfortable in this. And that's scary to me. How can you be comfortable in this? They talk about jail reform. Well, Jay-Z and whoever, they dropped the case. They don't want you to change the prison system. They make too much money off our bodies. We are still slaves to the game. And we want to pretend like we're not. YouTube wasn't created for us. It wasn't created by us. But Black people are involved with the creation of the internet. Black men and women. We are involved in every aspect of this life that we now do. But yet and still, we want to pretend like nothing needs to change. So let me get off my rant. Let me finish this video out, child. I got my blood up.
And the like, it is not a credible motion, and it made even harder, as Andrew just pointed out a moment ago, by Donald Trump repeatedly violating the conditions of, basically pretrial silence and trying to poison the jury pool. And what Judge Chutkan's already said is, look, you do that, I'm going to move the trial up. So I suspect that this trial is going to happen on or about the prosecutor's request of January 2024, as the American public deserve.
A lot. Everybody better eat their Wheaties and drink their, spinach smoothie tomorrow. Neil Katyal, Andrew Weissman, thank you as always.
Wait, I'm just talking to myself. So we going to the next video. So in this video, shout out to the damage report. They are talking about the gentleman who is the lieutenant governor. I was not aware. And I'm not sure what he's running for, but he is a conservative. And so I wanted to show what he's about. Let's go.
Mark Robinson's candidate. He's running for governor of North Carolina. Currently, he's lieutenant.
Okay, so he's running. All right, because I always ask how many black men have been governor in this country. So we got a brother that's trying to run. Let's see.
Governor down there. And as more and more comes out about him, people are discovering just how many conspiracies he likes to just throw out there. When talked before about looking to his history, he pushes every conspiracy theory known. Here's one of the things that he has, I believe, tweeted out. Is this where it's from? From 2017, he has a history. He says, I'm seriously skeptical of everything I see and have seen on television. Everything. Those are shows, bro. From the murder of JFK to 9/11 to Las Vegas, everything. And by the way, by Las Vegas, he means that mass shooting that happened in Vegas out of that hotel room. I believe it's that one as that concert was going down. Everything, he says. Also, he said this: I don't believe the moon landing was faked, but I don't believe 9/11 was an inside job. But if I found both were true, I wouldn't be surprised. I guess that's more of a it's a low-level conspiracy theory. Like, I don't believe the conspiracy, but if someone proved that it was a problem, then I would believe it. I'm glad you're willing to accept that. Maybe you should believe that Donald Trump committed all these crimes that are obviously in front of us. Will you believe that? Probably not. No. More, though, as Robinson said, that news coverage of police shootings is also part of this whole conspiracy theory. Again, Mark Robinson is a black guy. And so this is standard for a black person that's a Republican. You have to somehow find a way to stand up for things that make absolutely no sense, especially when it comes to police coming after folks in your community. He says this: I refuse to fall into the media trap and allow myself to lose sight of what is really going on with these, quote, police-involved shootings. He says this is a purposeful movement intended to weaken and ultimately destroy policing as we know it in America. And if you think that's a good thing, think again. This weak European-style policing will not work in this country. Crime rates will skyrocket and lead to calls for stronger, more government-controlled policing. And you can guess what that will lead to. I implore all of my conservative friends, do not help promote the anti-police sentiments that are being pushed by the media. See through their lies and look at the big picture of their true intent, which is to push us or the US towards their new world order. I want to stop there.
Yeah, me too. What? What are you talking about, sir? North Carolina, I just came from there. The rent is too high. You got people living in tents in the woods. Crime is on a rise because of inflation. You know, they use that excuse that to charge us more money, which makes no sense. But again, they can take our money and spend it on whatever they want to instead of the education, the health care, and the needs of the people in that community. And yes, a lot of, you know, more affluent Black people have moved from places like Atlanta and come to North Carolina because it's cheaper to live. However, that then makes all the other establishments want to raise their prices because they're like, oh, we got a different breed. Okay, we're gonna raise the price. Y'all gonna still pay because y'all still need us. And that is what I'm saying. We don't own no gas stations. We don't have any every time, let me correct. We have one hospital that's Black owned and Black ran, and that's in Howard. We used to have 500 Black hospitals across the country. That's still not enough, but we at least had that. And I just, again, here we go. And this brother want to run for governor. That puts him in a very powerful position because I'm not sure if we understand that the states govern themselves. Yes, there are federal laws that each state has, but the state can have their own. That's why you have different laws in one state, different laws in another, because they have the ability to do it. That's what it was before it became the United States. These were all territories that were governed by different people. If we're going to talk about history, I'm all for it. But I am really tired of the same conversations. I don't want to talk about Martin Luther King anymore. I don't want to talk about Malcolm X anymore. They have their place in history, and now we need to make history. We need to start utilizing what's available and making change. And I know that there are people out here doing it. However, we have to connect. We have to network so that we can broaden that bubble, so we can start bringing people in. Homeless shelters. Where do we triage our veterans? We want to say, oh, the VA gonna take care of it. No. The federal government, you see how it's ran. And anybody that's ever worked for the federal government know how slow they do things. But let me quit. Let's keep going.
Ida, because I feel like you probably have some thoughts about that. But really fast, my first thought here is he's talking about how policing, we need to stop talking about how it needs to be changed, rethought, maybe training should be different, and maybe the approach of just going after certain folks as a policy should be something they don't do. Because then if we keep going after these cops, it's going to turn into this whole strong government-controlled policing. Well, for many folks in this country, they already see that unfettered policing that happens because of who they are. Mm-hmm. But who cares about them?
Right.
First, your thoughts?
You know, I just think every time I see somebody who hates themselves, I always pity them, because I feel like, you know, if you really care about the police, then you would care for reform. You would say, let's lessen the load. Let's allocate some funds to mental health so that they don't have to go out. Let's make sure they're getting enough money. Let's make sure they're not being overworked. Because we all know police officers are blue collar workers, and they are the pawns in the game. Yep. And yeah, there are some cops that have, you know, committed some of the most egregious acts that we've seen. But the reality of it is that we do not have a proper system in this country to really train and support police officers, like mental health training, right, the things that they need, because they got to go out every day and face with the public, some of the hardest parts of society. But to sit here and say that these things are lies, first of all, if anybody proved that somebody didn't go to the moon and there was actual proof, we would, all of us who are sensible would believe it. So you're saying that if somebody proved this conspiracy, if somebody proved to me that lions could actually, you know, play the violin, and I saw a lion play the violin and somebody proved it, I would believe it. Right. Until then, it's just dumb to say stuff like that. If somebody proved it, leaving that gap wide open, because you are preying on people who don't have better sense. And right, you know that if you say the things that they want to believe and you toe the line, at least you got them following you where you got it, exactly, where you're going. And it's usually to the cliff where they jump off and then you go back where you started from, because that's what Donald Trump did on January 6th. I completely agree. So when I just see people saying stuff like this, I feel like, you know, the stuff that you're talking about when you're talking about police reform, it won't work here, but it'll work in Europe. Why? Europeans are better than us. Europeans are softer than us. Europeans are more educated, more sophisticated. Well, some of them have access to healthcare, so maybe they are not as stressed out and losing their minds like we are. But what is that supposed to mean? It won't work here. The disrespect and the dehumanization of American people is constantly being done by the people who claim to love them the most.
Thank you. Thank you. I am so glad she said that. I don't understand people who shit on the same community that you need they vote. How do you do that? How do you keep saying black folks won't do this, black folks won't do that? I don't know every black person, okay? I don't. But I do know that we share a common problem, which is when we are looked at, depending on the perspective, we can be either appreciated or in danger. We can be eliminated or taken seriously. The gray is not there. Not in that perspective. Because we're all the same, right? We all are doing the same thing. No. You're absolutely right. Elite Belzo, you are right. They don't have anything in place for healthcare workers. And we have a lot of unemployed healthcare workers who happen to be Black. Black teachers. Why not? Why is this so? Like, I don't get it. I actually had somebody call me a separatist. I was like, okay, wow, that's crazy. There's neighborhoods with nothing but Black people. How am I a separatist? You know, I give an example. So I guess the story goes, Jay-Z was offering crypto classes to the people where he used to live in these like towers, the hood, I guess, the not the hood, but just public housing. Let's say that. And everybody was like, for real? Who got money to invest? We live here, sir. You know, and it's like, oh, well, we can't help everybody, so let's not help anybody. And that attitude sucks. Because if that's the case, then why did they build all this stuff? Why can we benefit from some of the things that have been made in this country by people from other other cultures? I'm sorry. We don't even have our own eye care, right? Our health needs are different. And every doctor does not study the Black body. Yet and still, though, it was a Black woman cells that they took without her permission. And to this day, they have been using this to create health. I shouldn't say health, but to create things that will or will not help you with your health. I'm amazed. But let's keep going. This is a talk.
And that is why it is so insulting when people like this, they are just playing with the intelligence, undermining the intelligence of the people who support them when they say stuff like this. A lot of white people get mistreated and abused by the police. It ain't as salacious. It isn't as the media does play, mainstream media does play a role in contributing to this hate that is being stewed in America with race and culture and all of that stuff. But a lot of people who are mentally ill, 12-year-old white boys have been murdered by the police who were called there to help them with a mental health crisis. You know, right. Ben Crump is a friend of mine, and he defends a lot of people, and they're not all Black, who have been abused and mistreated by police officers. And it just, the fact that we cannot speak in absolutes. When you say all the police shootings are fake, is like us saying all cops are bad.
Right.
You can't have it both ways. Which one is it? Are we going to be intelligent enough to say we got a problem in this country? And anybody who works under the line that is making less money than they have to make, from the hospitals to the fire department to the police department, who have to show up on a daily basis, who are not being properly trained or properly supported, we're going to have problems with them. You know why? Because they're not getting what they need, and they can't give us what we need.
It's the thought, it's the approach that's gone, and then I've seen some of the defenders whenever there are all those videos coming out of Black folks being assaulted, murdered by cops, and they go, "Oh, what happens to white people too?" So join the thought process.
Right, exactly. If you know it's happening too, then show it. If you know this happening too, put it on there. But you don't. You highlight us. We have always been the scapegoats in this country. This is the same man. When I talk about Donald Trump, I think of the man who had decided that those 5 boys had done what they had done to that woman. And he took out an ad, a full-page ad, with those babies' pictures on it, saying they needed to be eliminated. When I think about the Trump name, I think about his father, who was doing all that he could to stop Black people from being in any of the residential that he owned. We want to talk about laptops and Joe Biden, but he ain't no better. His family ain't no better. They are all grifters. He is a con man, and he conned y'all into believing that he was the richest man and one of the richest men in the world. He hasn't paid his contractors. He hasn't taken care of the things he needed to take care of. He ain't no alpha man. His wife don't even like him. We don't even see her. I've seen her once. She sure enough wasn't with him when he got his mugshot. Did anybody see Melania? Because I didn't. So if we're going to look at every single detail, then let's look at it. This man does not care about his own people. That's why he said, I like the dumb and uneducated. I like people that don't go to school, because I know I can manipulate them a lot easier. Come on, everybody. When we gonna be honest? We talk about it. We talk about accountability. We talk about honesty. We talk about, we need to, pay attention. You gotta do more, Black women. Get off your high horse. Stop being crazy. Ain't nobody on that. Okay? Let's get together. Let's vote. Let's get some leaders involved. Let's get some people that we trust. Let's find out if they got the same things in their mind that we do. The things we want to see happen. Why can't we do that? Yes. Hey, thank you for coming. Yes, he did. Yeah, he was sure. Oh, yeah. I remember that. Because that was in the 90s, yo. Like, that was a hard time. I don't know why Black folks seem to forget that. The 80s and the 90s was hard for Black folks. It was hard for us to get good jobs. It was hard for us to get good education. Because if you wasn't in sports, or you didn't do something that they wanted to offer you a scholarship, your parents didn't have the money to send you nowhere, even to the HBCUs. And why have we never created a pipeline from our Black schools to those Black colleges? Right? Like, why are they not competing with the other colleges? Do you know what that would look like if we had a football league on the college level? Child, please. We want to give our money to the NFL. We want to bet on these games. We want to do this and do that. But then talk about the players and talk about their mamas. Why is mom up there? It is so backwards. I'm blown away. I'm blown away. I'm blown away. And I think that if we're going to continue to look at life this way and not make any real decisions, then yeah, it's gonna keep happening. It's gonna keep popping off just like this. And ain't nothing we can do about it. That train is running. It's already ran away. All we got left is the carts on the side. So let's finish this video. This child want to run for governor. Child, I don't even know how he became lieutenant governor.
of fixing this whole thing. Why is that a defense of the police? You know, they murder us too. Well, do something about it. Aren't you upset about that? Why is that acceptable, an acceptable thing to see? And also, when everything was going on with pushback on cops more because we're seeing videos of people being assaulted more and more, I think it was a Twitter thread type of thing or hashtag that was going around where people were giving their police encounters. So this is all made up. The new videos that we're now seeing are now something new. When the Rodney King video came out, folks that experienced that stuff weren't going, "Oh my God, this happens." No, they said, "Yeah, that's right."
Yep.
Now there's a video in 1992 that
Yes.
shows us what we've
Oh my
always seen. Now that it's
God.
2023, it's everywhere and it's easier to see. So it's not like it happens suddenly. It's something new and they're creating these videos. It's now we can film it immediately. So we've
That's
seen our
it.
folks getting murdered on camera all the time. It's disgusting. Anyway, it goes to build this type of coalition of people to just follow them off that cliff. I think, as you point out, is maybe the thought process here for this lieutenant governor looking to be governor. There's more, though. In October of 2018, on a day when authorities intercepted pipe bombs that were intended for President Obama and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and CNN, this is what Robinson said about it as well. This entire, quote, bombing story is faker than a $20 Rolex sold on a New York City sidewalk. Okay.
How does he know that?
Right.
Exactly. Where's the next step? I have all kinds of thoughts that I have. It's like, man, that's a fake video. That's a fake this. But I don't just say it. You at least want to find out for your own sake. Don't you want to know what you're saying that you believe is for real?
No.
It makes me think maybe he doesn't really believe that. But there's more, though. It's not all just politics. It's not all just things with moon landings and that. This is what apparently he had tweeted out at one point. He said, seriously, he's talking about Beyonce. Seriously, her songs sound like they say stuff like Satan laughs at you, rot in hell if you play them backwards. Super weird and a bunch of laughing faces. Okay. Now he's just joking. This is just for the sake, and by the sign said Beyonce's songs sound like satanic chants. Changed my mind. It's okay.
They were saying that about the Beatles.
Everybody doesn't have to like Beyonce. I don't actually listen to tons of Beyonce. I like her music, but okay, what does that have to do with anything else?
Right, and you're a lieutenant governor.
Fine, you think it's satanic. But if you're thinking this is some fringe candidate, you'd be wrong. Let's check out this graphic number 6, because Robinson is leading in the polling here, 41.5%, and the Democrat is just behind him, Josh Stein, at 40.8. Another 17% aren't really sure about where they'll be going for this 2024 general election for the governor of North Carolina. But I mean, when asked about it, he didn't have much comments then, because as we saw, some of these tweets and comments were from years and years ago. Maybe he's changed his mind on some of this stuff. Maybe he sees the craziness involved, but he appears to be hopefully moving on, and maybe he's got some policy and agenda that may.
Shout out to the Damage Report. Like always, I follow. I suggest you guys follow. They try to be as, they give you what they can. Of course, there's bias because it's like, what? No, holy hell. So speaking of candidates, right? I want to talk about outside of Donald Trump because there's plenty to talk about him. But who I want to talk about is Tim Scott and Larry Elder. They are both candidates, and I do believe so is. Oh, it's somebody else. Hold on, let's find them. Let me find them because I don't want to. All right. Okay, so let's see who the black candidates are. Okay. Tim Scott, he is, I think they're already talking about him. And let me see, I'm going to put this up for a second. Shout out to Reuters. I follow them as well. Okay, continue. Okay, Reuters, calm down. Okay. We're going to get some clips about my boy Tim Scott. We're going to do a little deep dive on him. Okay, so he has put his hat in the box. So we're going to talk about Tim Scott first. I only knew of Tim Scott later on. I didn't even realize this man was a senator. I had never really heard of him in our community, and I found that interesting. So let's talk about that. Let me share this, and I can get rid of that real quick. And I appreciate you guys coming. Thank you so much for hanging in with me. I don't know what's going on. My internet is acting wacky. I don't know why. I'm about to plug it in and see what's happening here. Let me see if I need to bring it closer. That might be it. Oh Lord, hold on. Yes, thank you so much for you guys coming in. I appreciate it. So we're gonna do a deep dive on Tim Scott, but the video don't want to play. Come on, man. Well, I'll just go back to. Oh, is this it? Okay, here we go. I'm trying to make it bigger. Okay, great. Okay, so this is a 1-minute video that is about Tim Scott. Let's hear what he has to say. And he's from South Carolina, by the way.
Bought into that premise that if you just say, Democrats have literally bought into that premise that if you just say it often enough, it must be true.
Republican U.S. Senator Tim Scott has entered the 2024 presidential race, according to a filing with the U.S. election regulator on Friday. And in a contest where many voters seem hungry for a bare-knuckled fight, Scott is taking a long-shot bet that a message of unity and optimism can still get it done. As the only Black Republican in the U.S. Senate, the 57-year-old often points to his personal story as proof that America remains a land of promise.
Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country.
What? I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, say that again. Hold on. Let me replay this. Cause I'm scared. Hold on. He said, and I quote,
America is not a racist country. It's backwards to fight discrimination with different types of discrimination.
On the campaign trail, his often sunny disposition presents a major contrast with other declared and prospective candidates, including the insult-hurling former President Donald Trump and Florida's pugilistic Governor Ron DeSantis, both of whom have portrayed the U.S. as a declining nation in need of rescuing from a corrupt leftist elite. But Scott enters the race with a steep hill to climb. Only about Republicans plan to vote for him in the primary, according to polling averages, and his national name recognition remains low. Still, Scott's chances may be stronger than they appear on paper. He is well known and liked in his home state of South Carolina, which plays a crucial role in the Republican nominating contest, as it is only the third state to cast its ballots. Among the policies he has supported are the creation of opportunity zones to boost blighted communities, and a tax credit program which helps low-income families with children. Scott's entrance into the race puts him in direct competition with another South Carolinian, former Governor Nikki Haley, who launched her campaign in February.
okay, so he don't think the country is racist. Okay? He don't think so. America is not a racist country. I hope y'all heard it. That's not. Child, come on. I can't. All right, Tim Scott. We're gonna keep it pushing. We're gonna find out some more about Mr. Scott. You know how old people do that. They're like, what you doing? Okay. Let's go. So again, like I said, it is so necessary to have this conversation. And I know a lot of people don't want to have it, but baby, we gotta have it. I'm already concerned about what it's gonna look like in 2024. If all these folks that's talking this yaya get in office, you think it's hard now. Every time a Republican president get in, it be some shit. Every time. In history, we know. We know. Reaganomics, then Bush, and this was the trickle down theory. Then we got the other Bush, which is 9/11 and all of the policies that were put in place to disenfranchise Black people. Opportunity zones allows wealthy investors to come in and buy up the neighborhood very cheaply, then build and make it so expensive that the people who live in that neighborhood have to leave. What kind of opportunity is that? Because if you build it in an area that doesn't have a lot of educated people, or you build it in an area that it's very rural, or high crime, you need to find out why it has so much crime. What kind of opportunities need to be available? Why do we have to pretend like this shouldn't be done? I'm gonna keep running my mouth. Hopefully somebody listening, and that's all I can ask for. So we're gonna keep it pushing, because I want to find out more about Mr. Scott. Let's find out more about Mr. Scott. Tim Scott. I want to know, are they gonna vote for him? Are Black men gonna vote for him? Is this your candidate? Are you behind him? All right. So we're gonna good, because I got a couple of clips. I'm glad that they went ahead and did it. We're going to get a couple of his stances on what is going on. I'm not a fan of Fox News, but I definitely want to get a contrast. And if you ever want something to go to sleep to, watch C-SPAN. It's wild, but I mean, for real. So let us go into the hot button issues. Here's one I hear a lot out here. So we're going to do some shorts. Haha. I'm sorry, I watch too much SpongeBob. I find myself sounding like Squidward, y'all. Okay, here we go. I just want to make sure you guys can see it and it's good on here. Let's go.
Match my fly.
Okay.
I was a disillusioned young man growing up in a single-parent household, mired in poverty. I wondered if the American dream was real for a kid like me. I can stand before you today and say the dream is alive, it is well, and it is healthy. I had the good fortune of a mom who worked 16-hour days, making sure we have food on our tables. She taught me that if you're able-bodied in America, you work. If you take out a loan, you pay it back. If you commit a violent crime, you go to jail. And if God made you a man, you play sports against men. I'm Tim Scott. I'm asking you for your vote. I was a disillusioned young man growing up in a single-parent household, mired in poverty. I wondered if the American dream was real for a kid like me. I can stand before you today and say the dream is alive, it is well, and it is healthy. I had the good fortune of a mom who worked 16-hour days, making sure we have food on our tables. She taught me that if you're able-bodied in America, you work. If you take out a loan, you pay it back.
Right.
You commit a violent crime.
Oh, Bologna. Let's go. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. So we've been in an hour and 18. I'm doing a part 3 tonight because I got something I gotta do real quick. Salute narratives and dialogues. Listen, give me about half an hour. If you guys are around, please come back. I just got to take care of some really important business, and I will be right back. Okay, we're going to get into this, and I definitely want to have the conversation. I'm up. So for the night owls, let's go. We're talking about some realness, and I want to talk more about Tim Scott. So I'm going to say peace, and I will be back. I'll drop it and put it out on my community panel as well. Thank you so much, Narratives and Dialogues. I appreciate you, brother. I truly do. So to everybody that's come in so far, come back. I promise I'll be back. Just give me a half hour and I'll be right back with y'all. Peace and blessings, my black people, my beautiful people. Let's do some damage, okay? All right, I shall return.